Today I'm going to talk about working as a team. And you, my friends, are the team leaders. Let me ask you a question. Can you think of a time when you had to coordinate several people to get something done? Maybe you were giving a dinner party, you were traveling together, maybe you were playing a sport, perhaps you were a boy or girl scout in another life. Show of hands. Let's see how many people, yeah? I come from a huge family. And whenever we want to go anywhere as a group, you can imagine it takes forever. To get started, someone has to take the lead and choose a destination. That plan has to take into account the different timelines, different personalities, different needs and interests of everyone involved. Then, all of the details have to be coordinated to make sure we all actually get there. Can anyone relate to that? FDR once said, "It's a terrible thing to look over your shoulder when you're trying to lead and find no one there." It's the same for us grant professionals. You see, we are perfectly positioned to be those inspiring, confident, and competent leaders that actually do get followers. We can help guide our organizations as they plan strategically for their grant-seeking futures. And then we can lead the execution of that plan. That might mean leading the entire process or just a segment or two of special interest. You know, when I was growing up, I always wanted to be Wonder Woman. And now is my chance. Let's look at some ways that great grant professionals are actually great strategic leaders who make wonderful things happen. We're going to talk about the top 6 ways that you are a strategic leader, whether you know it or not. The first one is you are passionate about your organization, and you want to share its story strategically. You know the ins and outs of what makes your organization so special. You know what it does, why it does it, and why that is so important. Maybe you are even a beneficiary of your organization, or perhaps you started out as a volunteer. You are committed, and you want others to share in that enthusiasm and support for your organization, naturally. And just as naturally, you know that not everyone is already on board, especially funders. You're going to have to do some work. And that work will be to educate, persuade, and engage those funders. No problem, you can handle it. Your organization might already have a strategic plan or a logic model that lays out your story and worldview very well, very neatly. If that's true, excellent. You can guide the staff to actually use those planning tools in your fundraising efforts. And we know that funders love those documents. Sometimes just a summary, but we know they love it. But what if your organization is not there yet? You may have to first educate, persuade, and engage your own organization. In that case, you're doing that to develop solid plans that will lead to winning grants. Not long ago, I was approached by a fairly large nonprofit that works on transportation issues in the San Francisco area where I live. If you've been out that way, you know that transportation is a big hassle for us. We talk about it all the time. Anyway, the organization had put off finishing its strategic plan, and it got to the point that their major funders just would not continue funding them without seeing that strategic plan. So it was definitely time. That plan spelled out the main things that their grant proposals were going to need: their goals, opportunities, strategies, outcomes, and key activities. Pretty basic stuff. So that organization had actually succeeded in merging its passion for transportation with fundable, concrete plans. Did anyone else get that pun? But your passion does not end with your organization. You are also passionate about getting the information you need to make strategic decisions when you approach funders. You are a resourceful researcher, and you use that research to plot out your grant-seeking strategy. That is, you're willing to dig deep and figure out exactly which funders are the most likely to be a good, close match for your organization. Check out this cartoon by Mark Litzler. He's actually the cartoonist for my book, Writing to Make a Difference also. Grantwriters seeks foundation for correspondence, courtship, and possible long-term relationship. You, the grant leader, are the crucial link between funders and your organization. You can contribute important perspectives that will help executive and program staff design work that is actually attractive to funders. Your team looks to you to help them strategize which grants to pursue, how, when, and who should actually do what in the process. And you know things. You know things like what funders are really interested in at the dollar level that you are seeking. And you also know what kind of grants you should be seeking in the first place, such as capacity building grants, general support grants, collaboration grants, or project development grants. Just examples. You also notice if your issues are not very well understood, or maybe flying under the radar of funders. And if they are, then it's your job to coach the rest of your team about how to strategize around those issues. You might have to do some funder education before you get to the big ask. And then there's the reporting process. You're always thinking about how to best use your reports to position your organization for the next grant, right? For example, your team may want to report on their achievements and things that worked, and that is great. But you know that funders are also interested in learning organizations that are constantly improving. They actually want to know what needs are being left unmet, and they want to know what lessons you learned. You also know that funders are interested in how your organization will improve over time using your evaluation results, and maybe even share those results as best practices with your colleagues in the field.